Welcome to this lesson on how to overcome procrastination. All of us will at some time or other put off important tasks. However, procrastination can be a very serious impediment to your personal effectiveness at work. So, let's look now at some steps you can take to overcome procrastination. Procrastination means delaying a task, or even several tasks, that should be a priority. The ability to overcome procrastination and tackle the important actions that have the biggest positive impact in your life is a hallmark of the most successful people out there. There are many reasons why we tend to procrastinate, including fear of failure, perfectionism, not knowing where to start, being stressed, worried, anxious, overwhelmed. The task is too complex, vague, difficult. No clear deadline, or inadequate resources available, such as time, money, information, etc. Let's look at each of these. Procrastination is usually the result of some kind of fear, so it's not that useful to just say fear here. Fear might be fear that you're not going to do well, fear of not knowing how to do something, fear of starting in the wrong place, fear of succeeding, and not knowing what to do once you succeed, fear of doing something that you're not already comfortable doing, etc. These are all obviously related, and they can be summed up as fear of failure, or not being good enough. Spending lots of time trying to get something perfect, or having the perfect tool or setup, or software, or doing it exactly with the right procedure, is a form of procrastination, and because of it, being stressed, worried, anxious, overwhelmed, make you less likely to want to focus on something hard. Your energy and focus are on other things, the overwhelming amount of things you have to do, something going on elsewhere in your life, other stressful projects, etc. People will often procrastinate when a task is too complex, vague, difficult. There's too much to think about with this task. Too many moving parts, too many problems to solve, and you're not sure how to tackle it, where to start, or who should be involved. You're not comfortable with this task, because you haven't done it a lot before. Or it's just too hard. Related to this problem with task complexity is not knowing where to start. The most important thing is to start, not to start at the perfect place. So pick a place that seems as good as any other, and just start. It can be in the middle or end instead of the beginning. Just start. You think you'll be more motivated later, it's not true. You won't be more motivated in the future than you are now. Do it now, because now is the perfect time to start. Let's now look at some steps we can take to break this bad habit. The first thing is to realize with procrastination, is that while the fixes might be simple, it's not going to change overnight. Procrastination is a set of habits we've formed over years of repetition, and so changing those habits will take focus, conscious effort, and repetition. That's not to say it will be hard work, it can be fun to change these habits. But just realize it might not change in one day. Let's now look at some steps we can take to break this bad habit. Here are some ways to overcome procrastination. Become aware. Identify causes. Just start anyway. Become better organized. Break the work up into steps. Work out the cost of procrastination. Don't be overwhelmed. Give yourself a reward. And tackle unpleasant tasks first, or eat that frog. Let's look at each of these. The first step in dealing with procrastination is to recognize that you are procrastinating. Here are some useful indicators that will help you know when you are procrastinating. Filling your day with low-priority tasks from your to-do list. Reading emails several times without starting work on them or deciding what you're going to do with them. Sitting down to start a high-priority task, and almost immediately going off to make a cup of coffee. Leaving an item on your to-do list for a long time, even though you know it's important. Regularly saying yes to unimportant tasks that others ask you to do, and filling your time with these, instead of getting on with the important tasks already on your list. Waiting for the right mood, or the right time to tackle the important task at hand. Next, start identifying the causes at work on you. We don't often look closely at our procrastination, because of feelings of guilt and fear, but let's instead look at it with detachment, our sense of curiosity about what's going on. No guilt, remember. Take a look at why you're putting things off. Go over some of the causes above, and say, that's what's happening with me. You have likely given yourself a laundry list of requirements for how your day needs to look, what resources you need to have at your fingertips, or even how the world needs to be in order to get started on your project. But unless your endeavor is legitimately a high-risk undertaking, just get started. Nothing stops us more than a start. Once you're in it, you're more likely to keep going. If you're procrastinating because you're disorganized, here's how to get organized. Keep a to-do list, so that you can't conveniently forget about unpleasant or overwhelming tasks. Become a master of scheduling and project planning, so that you know when to start those all-important projects. Set yourself time-bound goals, that way, you'll have no time for procrastination. And focus on one task at a time. Next, break your work into little steps. We often see tasks as huge projects which are mentally overwhelming. Break down the project into phases such as researching, deciding on the topic, creating the outline, drafting the content, writing the chapters, and so on. Suddenly, the whole thing will seem very manageable. Just focus on the immediate phase, and get it done to your best ability, without thinking about the other phases. When it's done, move on to the next. Next, we suggest you work out the cost of procrastination. Have you any idea how much procrastination is costing you? Ask yourself, what is my time worth? How much do I get paid per hour? If I could save 1 hour a day, what would this amount to, in the course of 1 year? What is the cost of not doing the tasks I need to do? What is the cost of the lost opportunities? You will find an exercise to help you with this in your manual. If you're putting off starting a project because you find it overwhelming, you need to take a different approach. Here are some tips. Break the project into a set of smaller, more manageable tasks. You may find it helpful to create an action plan. Start with some quick, small tasks if you can, even if these aren't the logical first actions. You'll feel that you're achieving things, and so perhaps the whole project won't be so overwhelming after all. The next tactic is to adopt strategies that help you keep motivated. These general tips will help motivate you to get moving. Make up your own rewards. For example, promise yourself a piece of tasty steak at lunchtime, if you've completed a certain task. And make sure you notice how good it feels to finish things. Ask someone else to check up on you. Peer pressure works. This is the principle behind slimming and other self-help groups, and it is widely recognized as a highly effective approach. Identify the unpleasant consequences of not doing the task. Work out the cost of your time to your employer. As your employers are paying you to do the things that they think are important, you're not delivering value for money if you're not doing those things. Shame yourself into getting going. If you're procrastinating because you find the task unpleasant, many procrastinators overestimate the unpleasantness of a task. So give it a try. You may find that it's not as bad as you thought. Hold the unpleasant consequences of not doing the work at the front of your mind. Reward yourself for doing the task. You may have heard the term, eat the frog. If the first thing you do each morning is to eat a live frog, you can go through the day with the satisfaction of knowing that that is probably the worst thing that is going to happen to you all day long. Another version of this saying is, if you have to eat 2 frogs, eat the ugliest one first. Finally, if you have to eat a live frog, it does not pay to sit and look at it for a very long time. To have a good chance of conquering procrastination, you need to spot straight away that you are doing it. Then, you need to identify why you are procrastinating, and take appropriate steps to overcome the block. There are a number of activities to complete for this unit. Take the time to complete these in your manual. In this way, you will better learn from and retain the knowledge covered in this unit. Thank you for watching this lesson. We hope you have found it useful. Would you like to learn more? Visit our websites to view our range of courses on the principles of management.